if you are reading this. I am most probably already dead. It all began a couple of years ago. But only now I am able to understand the horrible truth behind the mysterious events in my life. But let me start from the very beginning and not rush the events here. One day in March 2020, I was going to a regular grocery store trip. So I took my jacket and stepped outside the front door, and I've almost tripped. There was a small cardboard box lying on my porch with a typical Amazon tape covering the joint on top. Did the delivery guy messed up? Was my first thought. I looked left and right, instinctively looking for a delivery van or any sight of mailman, and of course nobody was around. So I've picked up the box and checked the sticker. That's strange, I've said to myself as my eyes went over the address and name on the package. I was stated as the receiver, but I was pretty sure that I didn't order anything from them ever since I bought all the Christmas presents back in mid-November. The box was very light, as if nothing was inside. It could have been a prank or a delivery system failure. Who knows? Maybe some computer at sorting factory malfunctioned and I've been awarded with an empty box sent to my door. So my grocery plans got delayed a bit. I walked back into the house, picked up the kitchen knife from the rack and carefully opened the box. No chaotic movements, as I still thought that this was some sort of mistake and at some point the thing should be returned to the respective owner. Cautiously opening the box and getting through all the packing pieces inside of it, I finally discovered the content of the package. Deep in the brown craft paper, a small plastic knife was buried. You know the type, the one like they gave out in school canteens to smear the butter from those small plastic capsules. This one was purple, with absolutely dull edge and brand new. I even chuckled at that point, as this was the least expected item I could ever imagine to receive, and I was worried that I could get somebody's stuff. Sheesh. Anyways, to be extra sure, I've logged into my Amazon account and checked the order history. Everything was as it should. Last thing I got, and to be precise, it was a set of fancy shot glasses for my friend Matt, who was a bartender wannabe. It was there. I've double-checked my billing pages, checked the inbox just in case there was some sort of giveaway or anything. Nothing. Well, I thought nobody will be too upset because of a missing plastic knife, so I've put the box into garage just in case. Maybe next day somebody would notice the mistake and ask to return the precious possession. But nobody came next day or even next week. No emails from the company. No nothing. By the end of the month, I've completely forgot about this incident. April came down upon the land. Chirping birds, juicy greens all around, spring at its finest. Not that March was still winter, but it didn't feel that revitalizing as his following brother. Life was beautiful, and even with all grim news from around the world, it felt really good after a long snowy season. One day the sun was shining extra bright, so I've decided it would be a crime not to go outside. I picked up the keys and stepped through the front door into the vast warmth. Imagine my surprise when my eyes stumbled upon another mysterious box lying on a walkway next to my house. Okay, this can't be a coincidence. I quickly checked my surroundings. What if it really was a prank and right now somebody's filming me so that next day I can print and Boomer gets surprise mail? Prank 100%, laugh in YouTube and check myself in HD. But no, nobody was there. Or, let's be honest, I was unable to notice anything suspicious. I picked up the box. It was not that light this time. Probably a couple of pounds, maybe more. The sticker with my name and address was there again, right on top of printed Amazon logo. This time I took it a bit more serious. First thing, checking my accounts. Nothing suspicious on Amazon. No extra bills in my banking app. Next thing I did, tried to call the Amazon support. After 30 numbing minutes of waiting, some guy with a thick accent of an unknown origin picked up. I made him go through their system twice, but he assured me that they didn't send anything to my address, neither last month nor this. I thanked him and hanged up with a swarm of thoughts in my mind. No, I was not worried or anything. It just was so awkward, strange, and stupid at the same time. I've decided to look inside the thing. This time it was a CD player. It was an ancient Sony Walkman that used a couple of batteries and was considered hip and cool back in the day. This made absolutely no sense. It was brand new in original box, but I was pretty sure it was some sort of collector's reissue. You know the thing nowadays. Capitalism and the urge to feed on nostalgia. I even checked inside to see if any sort of CD was included, still hoping that this was some sort of a prank and my friend would burn their haha. We really wish we saw your face when you saw the box, Jack, over the CD to freak me out and have a good laugh. But no, again I was left clueless with the item. I couldn't explain what had to do with me. Next month it was a pack of peanuts. Month after, a sketchbook, and in July I've got a PSP. When August came and a box with what happened to be a pair of brand new red Converse shoes in it appeared. I've lost my nerve. I went to the police station and spent a couple of hours waiting for the officer on duty to register my complaint and then explaining the weirdness of the situation. By the look on his face, he was not really amused by my story. I wish I was in your place, to be honest. Free stuff every month. Who cares? Most probably it's a bureaucratic mistake. You know, things like this happen all the time. Just for example, last year somebody misplaced a 0 in a form. So the paper company delivered us 10,000 packs instead of requested 1,000. See, no big deal. If I were you, I would give a call to that Amazon company and make them double check the stuff. Yes. I know you said you did it before. Maybe that guy had a bad day. I don't know. Don't hesitate to contact me if something serious happens. That was everything I've heard from him by the time I finished my explanation. With no support from the local authorities, I had to care about my comfort all by myself. So that meant war. At first, I've moved my working desk to the window in the hall, so I could have a good sight of people coming to my front door at all times, and since we still had unions and human rights, I was pretty sure that deliveries were made during normal working hours. This approach failed. I must have been in one of the work calls and missed the September delivery. A pair of sunglasses. Then I took a webcam, couple of apps, and placed it in the corner of the window, so that the walkway was recorded 24/7. The app would start recording as soon as any motion would be detected. Sounded like a solid plan at that time. I was somewhat proud of that technical solution. Imagine my frustration when it failed. That month I've got a pair of black suspenders. I rushed to my laptop and went through the logs. Nothing. I mean, there were a couple of videos where my neighbors were walking by my house. Some guy with a dog. Even a stray cat sneaking, but no sign of a person who delivered the thing. Should I say that by that time each single employee of Amazon customer support knew me by name? In the end, there were still no results. Nobody saw no errors in their software. There was no bureaucratic mistakes. The parcels just appeared from thin air. That was it. I was getting a top-tier CCTV. This shit has started getting on my nerves. Money could solve a lot of problems. And for sure they can speed up stuff. So no later than 3 days after I've got the suspenders, the cameras were up and running. I got 4-pack. So that each single inch of my front yard, door, and walkway were covered by unsettling eyes of modern technology. A ladybug couldn't sneeze on my lawn without the system noticing it. Guess what? The plan fucked up royally. With November arrival, the chill filled the air, and sitting on a frostbitten planks of my porch, next box awaited. It was a Zippo lighter. Plain one, no decor. No engravings, no clues whatsoever. I've checked the camera logs twice. No, 3 times, and I couldn't believe my eyes. The box just dropped down from the thin air. Wait, what? Was my thought. Did the fucker notice my innovation and climbed on the roof to stay undetected? I went to police again, this time with the copy of the video, with little to no result. They said that since no harm was done and I've received no threats or whatsoever, they can't do anything about it. I wouldn't say I was losing my mind at the time or scared to the bones. No, but what's for sure, I was really frustrated and really annoyed. Further months were all the same. I've tracked, I've waited, I've ambushed. I've called, I've visited, I've complained and argued. Everything with little to no result. Little as a no. It's you again. Sorry, we don't have anything to add at this point. Have a nice day. And nothing, as in no sign of the person who delivered the boxes. I went so serious that the contact with the higher regional management of Amazon was made. I, with the help of the higher power, tried to track where exactly the labels with my name and address were printed. Imagine that. We've tried to locate the exact printer machine, but that was like searching for a needle in a haystack. By the end, the whole idea failed. I've called some people names, and I think I got into a customer's blacklist or something. I lost my job at some point. My search for truth started to take way too many time. I had to sell my CCTV and some personal stuff to raise some money, so I had something to eat and pay for communications. Months passed. The pile of random stuff grew bigger. I became a proud owner of a sweater, backpack, can of vanilla-flavored soda, a pen, t-shirt with a skull painted on it, skateboard, pregnancy test, and couple more things I can't recall at this time. Last drop was a book that arrived in October. It was a copy of Fight Club. I've had enough. That evening I got drunk, and as you know, we tend to get the best sorts of ideas when booze kicks in. So at some point in my delirium, fuck it all. I'll just move to another place. Fuck that guy. Surprisingly, after waking up with disgusting taste in my mouth and a pounding pain in my temples, the idea remained and still sounded like a good plan. I never claimed to be the toughest guy around, and I did what I could to solve the problem. It didn't work. I have 2 options now. Continue my struggle and wait till I get completely miserable and insane, move to other place and start anew. So after a couple of phone calls to landlord and telling that I need to move out ASAP as I will be in charge of taking care of my disabled relative from now on, I was allowed to terminate the contract with losing my initial deposit. Who cared? I've also called my good old friend Matt and asked for his help with moving out. He would wonder why not just order a truck from a moving company. And I would answer, you must have missed the part where I lost my job. Anyways, Matt gladly agreed to help and promised to keep his pickup truck ready for my next phone call. That guy. I knew him all my life. But you know how adult life makes you separated as you got your own jobs, families, duties. Not that any of us had a family at that point. I didn't meet the missus yet and Matt was already divorced. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Point is, we still were good friends, and if something happened, we were always there for backing up. I found a new crib pretty easily. It was not that far away from my current one and the rent was quite affordable, especially in my financial situation. So after signing the papers and being handed the keys, I gave my friend a call. Couple of hours later, we were carrying my humble belongings to the back of his truck. There wasn't too much, to be honest. As I was settling one of the boxes firmly in the car, I've heard Matt giggle. Dude, like what the hell? What's with all that stuff here? Are you back into your punk phase or something? Wait, did that age crisis kick in? What do you mean? The Converse shoes. The tee, the board. Damn, you looked like a dickhead in high school, he laughed. Well, did you see yourself back then? With all that hair and eyeliner? I've replied. Yeah, those were the days. Wait, whoa, where did you get this? He held Walkman player towards me. It's a long story. Don't bother, I cited. This thing really reminds me of Brandon. Do you remember Brandon? That quiet guy who always had his stupid Walkman with him. I mean, everybody around used MP3 sticks already. Just not that guy. Oh, wait, what the actual fuck? Man, what? I couldn't understand his interest. I'm pretty sure these are suspenders just as the ones Mikey always wear. And this bag of peanuts. Remember Gina? The one who was really fat and couldn't cut down the snacks, so the doctors told her to substitute M&Ms with plain peanuts. You like starting a museum of your childhood or something? These memories never came up to my mind. Both me and Matt finished school more than 20 years ago, and as a kid I was always pretending that I was on my own. Like a lone wolf to look cool and hip, as we said back in the days. Well, technically not the truth, as I had Matt and Corey and Barb, but you know how it could be. I mean, yes, for sure. I could tell you that my balding friend here had a massive hair when he was young, and you couldn't imagine him wearing anything but black, pretending he just crawled out of the cemetery or whatever goth kids did those days. But such details about other classmates. Well, at least not on the surface of my dome. Anyways, Matt uncovered the ugly truth. Somebody was sending me stuff, each one of which resembled one of our classmates. That was getting scary. I quickly explained my friend where I got all the things and the mysterious way they have arrived at my front door. I also told him that was the reason I've decided to move in the first place. Matt listened carefully, and I noticed that slight glimpse of fear flashed somewhere deep in his eyes. By the end of the day, we moved everything to my new place and sat at the kitchen table with all the objects in front of us, trying to remember and identify each one of them and whom they could belong to. Do you have a yearbook? Asked Matt. No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I didn't even pick up the copy when they were handed out, I've replied. Neither do I, but wait. I'm pretty sure Chloe still has one. Remember Chloe? The one with the pigtails she was dating? Don't remember. Anyways, she living nearby. We could pay her a visit tomorrow. That was the plan when we've said goodbyes and Matt went back to his place. Next morning he dropped by and we went to uncover the mystery. Chloe Jacobs lived in a small villa with her family on the opposite side of the town. It looked tidy and simple, as if somebody's caring hand took care at every detail. Without hesitation, we knocked and put our best smile. A grim man opened and stared at us. Must have been the husband. We briefly explained who we were and asked if we could have a word with Chloe. What we heard shocked us. Chloe was no more. She accidentally drowned in the communal pool a couple of months before. That was the most unfortunate time we could get to visit this grieving man. I am really not proud of what I did next, but I guess it had to be done. I faked and lied. I played my most upset mime and almost burst into tears, telling him a tale of how we were visiting all our classmates after 25 years after graduation, and that it would be an honor to get something to remember her by. A year's book would do, I swear. If that didn't work, I would also drop that I was dying from cancer and other bullshit. I don't tend to think that I'm a horrible person, but this Amazon anomaly pushed me really hard beneath my limits. We left the house with the book in my firm grasp. Back at my place, we sat down and checked the photos. Purple butter knife belonged to Martin. Now I remember he told us a story about it and why it means so much to him, but I can't recall what exactly it was about. Black t-shirt was on Shirley. Right there in the book, the pen, as we remembered looking at his photo, belonged to Christian. He always said he's becoming a writer and always carried a pen, spinning it in his fingers, and so on, though there was something strange with the book. The big group photo where all the class was posing together was missing from it, as if Chloe cut it off with a scalpel or similar tool. I wondered why. Due to our calculation, there were just 4 items missing from the collection. I had 20 in my possession, and according to the memories, we were a class of 24 people. So it was Matt, me, Liam, and Hannah. Matt asked million of questions. When and how those boxes arrive, had I ever saw the van, the guy? What was the weather outside? Couple of times I had to retell the whole thing anew. By the end of the day I felt devastated, but I couldn't sleep that night. And the night after, I was thinking about who and why would do this to us. Matt promised to keep an eye on my previous house. The bastard won't expect somebody else tracking him. So this sounded as we had a chance. November came silently with no news at this point. Matt was sitting in his pickup by the house for I don't really know how many days straight. He turned his car into a mobile base, which sounds better than it smells, trust me. We waited. I think it was November 15th or 16 when somebody knocked at my door. To clarify, I've rented an apartment this time, so it could have been some neighbor asking for a couple of eggs. Or maybe Matt finally returned from his duty. I've cracked open the door and fuck. There was a cardboard box. I quickly grabbed it and tore apart. It was light as a feather, inside laid hidden. And I've almost broke it with my rough actions. An eyeliner pencil, black one, with some stupid name like Children of the Night or Nosferatu. I can't recall now, as the only thought that flashed in my mind was, Matt. I gave him a call. No result. Another. No result. Was he asleep after all his surveillance or something? I rushed to my old place. There he was. That's his truck and that's him sitting at the wheel. Is he sleeping? Yeah, I bet. The guy took too much to his shoulders and now you'll need a horn to wake him up, I thought. I came closer and leaned to a window. Gave a gentle knock. No response. His head leaned towards the wheel as if he was in his deep phase, drooling all over. Then I've noticed that the engine was running. This was not funny. I've knocked harder, shouting his name. Some lights blinked in neighboring houses. I saw silhouettes in the windows, watching me. I didn't care. I was sending punches and kicks to the door. Matt was not waking up. Finally, I found a stone nearby and on third attempt managed to break the window. He wasn't breathing. The air inside made me dizzy. I will save you the time. He didn't make it. Official conclusion: accidental death due to air exhaust malfunction. They said that his truck was not maintained properly, so there was a leak and some gas made it to the salon. And since windows were closed, I was devastated. I was at the brink. I didn't go to his funeral. It was a bit too much for me. There were 3 of us left. Next month I've received hair comb. Hannah, month after, walking cane, the one just like Liam had. My sanity was dancing on the tip of the knife. I became a ruin of a man. I didn't understand who, why, what was happening. After the January's package, I've headed towards the bus station and took the first bus departing. Even I didn't know where I would end. Yesterday I was staying in this motel in the middle of nowhere, when somebody knocked at my door. With trembling legs and holding my breath, I stopped in front of it. There was no peephole on the door, so as confident I could in this state, I've asked, "Who is it?" Of course there was no response. I've frozen in wait. An envelope with Amazon logo on it slipped under my door and I heard the steps moving away from my room. I've quickly grabbed the envelope and tore it open. Inside there was just a small piece of paper, or a photo to be precise. A cut photo of our class, all 24 of us. Everybody except me had an X crossing their faces. Another detail caught my attention. One guy had his face heavily covered with ink, as if somebody tried to erase it with paint. Who was that? I've rapidly counted the people in the photo. 25. It couldn't be. I've counted again. 25, including me, the guy whose face was not covered. I've reached to the lock and threw the door open. At the light spot in the distance of the shaded parking lot stood a guy. He was wearing a typical blue Amazon Prime shirt and was staring at me, smiling. And suddenly I've remembered. When we were kids, there was a wimp kid in our class. He was a weirdo. Everybody hated him. I think his name was Gerald, or Jeffy, something like that. He was mean. He was gross. The kind of guy who would hide in the girls' bathroom and creep them out. The kind of guy who would eat his boogers and drool all over the place. He ruined so many field trips when we were kids. He was the reason we didn't show good results in local ratings. Every single person hated him, even the teachers. But we couldn't just make him disappear. So yes, he was bullied all the time. But he didn't seem to care about all the kicks and name we gave him. Up to a point when the prank took place. After another failure that resulted in regional humiliation, some boys of our class designed a prank. They asked Hannah to write that Gerald guy a note saying she is willing to give him a kiss if he was at his locker by the lunch break. The guys brought a shitload of fireworks. We were young and stupid. As the school was evacuated and the smoke was flooding from the single locker where the screams and shrieks spread, nobody stopped it from happening. Everybody was laughing at first when the guy cried for help. As a result, some people were fired. But none of us got suspended or punished. Everybody knew the guy was a failure and it could totally be his fault. I think he lost his last dignity that day, as he never pointed a finger to those who did it to him. We never saw him since that day. I've heard he was transferred to homeschooling after he got out from hospital, or that his family moved somewhere. Who cared? Right now, in front of me I saw not a boy, but a man wearing the uniform, smiling widely, waving at me. That moment I understood everything, that we were real dipshits. That consequence of actions can cause even bigger consequence of actions. That what I thought was a thick accent of unknown origin sounded exactly like somebody with mutilated face was speaking, and whatnot. I finally understood what's the cold dish everybody was talking about. I got less than 10 days left. February comes real soon. I got to hide. I have to disappear. I will do my best to survive, but my hopes are not high, as it seems this guy is really purposeful.